Holy guacamole, Batman! This must be the best piece of advertisement I've seen in years. Wes, how min friend, and welcome to yet another video. Well, tip of the hat, my dear friends, tip of the hat to HBO. Please look at the screen. Now, what you're seeing is a promotional piece for, the streaming service that everybody knows, HBO Max. But HBO, they have decided to change its name into just Max. Now, putting that aside, the fact that it's a very bad idea, in my humble opinion, because everybody knows HBO, and that which made the streaming service memorable was the HBO part, not the Max part. Max can be literally anything. But hey, who knows? Maybe it will get engraved in the memory of the wide audience, and from now on people will just take it as it is. But once again, putting that aside, this is a masterpiece of a promotional material. Now, the joke here is quite clear, isn't it? It has been around the social media and the internet for a couple of hours now, and I have stumbled upon several articles, maybe a dozen, that are saying the same thing. Of course, most of them are just copying what was written in the previous article by somebody else, but the message here is as clear as a day, is it not? It is a little bit of a joke that is being turned at, really, Prime Video and the Rings of Power, isn't it? Quite clearly, this is talking about the Rings of Power, the one ring to rule them all, so on and so forth. And why is it so? Well, it's quite clear, because if you remember correctly, last year there was this competition, really, unwritten, sometimes unspoken, but sometimes quite openly spoken competition between the Rings of Power and House of the Dragon. And those two streaming services, those two companies, Amazon Prime or Prime Video and HBO, they were kind of competing for audience and for views, and it has really come to the light that House of the Dragon won. For quite obvious reasons, because, House of the Dragon was the better show of the two, full stop. Well, we don't need to go into depth, really. We don't need to theorize about who promoted their material better, or if it was, for this audience or that audience, it was directed towards one goal or another. No, it's just House of the Dragon was the better show. And if you really think about it, because many people are complaining about Game of Thrones and the last couple of seasons. Yeah, but you have to take into consideration one thing. You have to realize one thing. HBO, when they have a material to adapt, they make good fantasy shows. Game of Thrones was fantastic until they ran out of books to adapt. I don't know how many people know this, but hey, Game of Thrones is based on A Song of Ice and Fire, the book series written by George R.R. Martin. So far, 5 books published, 5 volumes: Game of Thrones, A Feast for Crows, The Storm of Swords, The Clash of Kings, and A Dance with Dragons. Now, when they reached Dance of the Dragons, they didn't have anything to adapt. Now, we can only theorize how much they cooperated with George R. Martin, how much he revealed to them that would happen in his books, how much it actually showed us beforehand what will happen in the books. My own theory is that if George R. R. Martin ever finishes the book series, which is very improbable, that it will be quite different from the show. But most likely we will never know. Well, be it as it may, the show exists, the show has its own ending. It ended in a way that not many people like, quite obviously, because they didn't have material to adapt. If you look at House of the Dragon, which was an adaptation of the Fire and Blood book, once again, a book written by George R. R. Martin talking about the Targaryens and the Valerians and the civil war in between or inside of the house. it was a good adaptation. It is a more of a chronicle-like book. It's not a narrative novel, so to speak, not like A Song of Ice and Fire. And having read the source material, both the source materials, I have to say that once again, I will be repeating myself. When HBO, when they have something to adapt, they adapt it good. Now, Prime Video, my dear friends, they also seemingly, well, at least they say it, they have things to adapt. Not many things, not much of the source material. They can only basically adapt the appendices to The Lord of the Rings. And it doesn't even look like they were adapting that. Because, and I have made a million videos about that, it just really isn't anything that Tolkien wrote. It's their own fantasy show, poorly made, poorly constructed. Really, the cinematography is like meh. And the visuals, mediocre at best. When you compare it to Lord of the Rings by Peter Jackson from over 20 years ago, come on. Now, just recently, The Return of the King has been shown in cinemas again for its 20th anniversary. And people are absolutely crazy for it because it's a good film. The tickets are sold out. They got sold out immediately because everybody wants to see it on big screen because it's just such a great film. Only The Return of the King received 11 Academy Awards per one night. So there's your proof. So the clear winner last year was House of the Dragon. And on top of that, not only can HBO adapt books very well, they are also very good at promoting and advertising. Because Prime Video, they have put billions and millions of dollars into advertising, and what were they able to do? Put Galadriel and the elf character Arondir on Kit Kat. Pay some influencers to pretend that they are fans. Everybody saw through that. Make a couple of trailers that looked as cringy as the show itself. It's not much, really. So, once again, I have to say, my tip of the hat, I'm bowing down to HBO because I love when a company realizes that which they should be doing is making money, making cash. Every single company out there, its first and foremost, most important purpose is to make cash, make money. Now, how do you want to make the money if you are a filmmaking company or a streaming service? Well, first, make good product, make good films, good TV shows, which HBO can do. They can. Well, so can Prime Video. But we are here talking about only specifically about the adaptations of George R. R. Martin's books versus adaptations, quote unquote, of Tolkien's books, right? House of the Dragon / Game of Thrones versus the Rings of Power. So, first make good product, which HBO can do, and promote it very well, which HBO can clearly do very well. Prime Video, as far as the Rings of Power, can do neither. So, I want you to tell me what you think about it. It has amused me quite a lot, and I've had a good time laughing over this. All right, then. That will be all. Thank you very much for watching, and Namarie.